In this video, I am going to show you why traditional golf email marketing is dying in 2025, and then I'm going to show you how to save your brand from inevitable failure. So, the reason I'm saying this is if you look at any golf emails that you're receiving right now, you're probably going to see the same thing. It is the standard hero image plus product grade emails that really are completely dead to most email subscribers nowadays, unless they are super passionate about that brand. So the top three problems and solutions that we're going to cover in this video. Problem number one is what I call the death spiral. Problem number two is only sending promo emails, which is by far the most common thing I see happening and the most common complaint I get from founders and CEOs that I get on the phone with. And problem number three is what I call the ecom email agency trap. And then at the end of this, I will give you the solution to everything, including an implementation framework. So the first thing here is, for those of you that don't know me, I am Nick Yates. I'm the founder of 19th Hole Emails. We are an email marketing agency for golf brands only. So I have golfed since I could walk, and I've spent the last 10 plus years as an email marketer, and I've combined those two passions into this agency. Really, the number one thing that we do is we help golf brands stop playing corporate dress up and start sending emails that actually make sales. And really, our big secret weapon is also your secret weapon. For those of you watching this that own a golf brand, it's your personality. And it's rarely shown with the continual hero image plus product grid that most of you are sending. We've got a proven track record with brands like Tour Striker, which is Martin Chuck's brand, Galway Bay Apparel, Segudo Golf, Red Stakes Golf, Grunk Golfer, and a handful of others. So what I show you in these videos, it does work. It's proven, and it's a good way to zig when everyone else is zagging. So diving right into this, problem number one is what I call the death spiral. It is basically whenever you are sending the exact same template that every other brand uses. You are sending the traditional either hero image or product image at the top, and you've probably got like a headline, maybe a call to action, and then a button. And then after that, maybe there's some body copy, maybe not, but it is followed quickly by the product grid with buttons or one large shop now button at the bottom of it. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And yes, even whenever it's fully designed and you just have the products listed over and over again, that's the same thing I'm referring to here. Your customers are literally going what I call email blind to it. It's like Febreze nose blind. You know, you've seen the commercials where the teenager sitting in his stinky bedroom and he has no idea that it stinks and he's gone nose blind to it. It's like Febrez's big catchphrase. Same thing with email. They are seeing the exact same template, the exact same styles of speaking to them over and over and over again, and they go email blind to it. They are identical emails, identical layouts, identical styles, identical voice. Like no one has a true brand voice in 9 out of 10 golf emails that I see. It's the standard, here's this thing we have, here's why it's cool, and here's why you should buy it, or here's the offer, and here's why you should buy it before the offer ends, over and over and over and over again. So how do we fix this? I call it the voice test. Basically, the brands that are crushing it in 2025 with email marketing, they all pass this. And the key question here is, if you stripped away the logo, the colors, the product images, you would still know who sent that email because of what they say in it and how they say it. So they have the distinct brand voice and personality that comes through in the messages. A great example of this, and you can look them up on Mild or whatever website you use, and it looks like this image came out funny. Their emails didn't look like that. They were not, didn't have those errors in it. So whenever I did a screen capture, it messed up there. But Bogey Bros is a great brand. I'm always looking at their emails, and you can just tell it's a Bogey Bros email by the way they talk, the way they position things, the fun that they have with their brand. And if I were to remove the logos and all of the designs, I would still know this is a Bogey Bros email. They always have something edgy to say. They are typically making me laugh at least once per email. The fact that like they literally have two people just flipping off the camera for this hero image, like that's funny to me. When in the world of golf where everything is super stuffy and very country clubbish, these guys are a great breath of fresh air whenever you get emails like this. Typically it's always like tongue in cheek kind of copy. And I love that. Like their emails actually say something. They could have just send an email like this where the birdies are chirping, none of this copy, and then just the product grid. Instead, they decided to say, hey, the sun's out, the flowers are in bloom, and yet you still have the pent up anger. Express yourself in style with our birdie finger polos. Say F you with a color to match your mood. Like all of that is straight Bogey Bros copy. Like it's all super on brand for them. And yes, like you don't have to be funny if your brand is not funny, but it has to be your voice, whatever it is. And, you can look at this one, for instance, like this one on the left, our staff is good for nothing. And then they cross it out and say something like, I love good copy formatting like that. It's super creative. Not many brands are doing it. Staff picks are in. We interviewed our most coveted team members and asked them to put together their ideal Bogey Bros head to hand fit. And really, this is just a creative layout. Like that's what is a giveaway for me because I don't see many brands putting together layouts like this. So these guys are a great one to follow if you need some inspiration. But the whole point of this is give this a test yourself. Like look at your email and pull up your top 3 or 4 competitors and envision it if you took away the logos, the colors, and the product images and all that, or just envision the product images without the branding on it. Would you know which one's yours? And 9 times out of 10, like if I put, if we put golf club brands next to each other, if we took like Titleist, Callaway, PXG, TaylorMade, put them all next to each other, they're going to look exactly the same. They have the same style of emailing and they have the same brand voice. And really, I couldn't tell you what one brand stands for and one brand doesn't whenever it comes to those super corporate brands like that. So that's how you have to think of this. Moving on, which will kind of build on this. The next one is the number one issue that I get from founders, CEOs, CMOs. They say, yeah, we know we're supposed to send more emails. We know we only send 1 to 2 emails per week, but we don't know what else to talk about. We don't know how to send emails that don't have an offer in them and aren't promotional. So, all their emails look like spring sale 20% off or new driver collections here or last chance to save or new polos just arrived or shop our summer fits. All of these in my mind are just spamming the list. It is an offer over and over and over again. And there's only so many ways that you can do offers. And again, they're going to go email blind to it because everybody else is doing this exact same thing. And it's like a never ending infomercial for their email list. They think that more emails have to equate to more sales pitches, and they hold back and then they leave money on the table because their subscribers forget that they exist. So the solution here is what I call a value first email strategy. With all of our clients, we are sending 3 to 4 emails per week minimum outside of promotions. We try to run a promo every couple of weeks, but the key thing is these emails aren't selling necessarily. They are giving you kind of like that Bogey Bros email where they built an entire collection for you. That's kind of a value proposition for especially like men like myself. Like, I don't know what goes together half the time. I'm not some kind of fashionable dude. So whenever they can put a whole outfit for me together and I can click it and buy it with a button, that's great. We're looking at like behind the scenes stories. We can send founder messages. I was just speaking with a founder yesterday who's got a tech startup in the golf niche. And I was like, man, some of the best emails you can send are just updates from you. Be like, hey, this is Nick, and we've been doing this cool thing. We got this new release coming out. Like, can't wait to show it to you guys. That kind of, founder-led messaging is super powerful. And I'll get into that in the next problem, how brands lose this. Another one is like relationship building. A lot of brands like Bogey Bros, for instance, like I have a client like that to where there is just an entertainment factor to their emails. And maybe you can't pull that off with your specific golf brand, but if you can, there's a sense of community behind it. And there's other ways to do it too. You can engage subscribers with polls, Q&As, ask them to send UGC, content, give them free things, for instance. You can do all kinds of stuff that just really builds the relationship. And it's kind of like a banking system, like checks and deposits. You can't just constantly take out of your bank account without putting it back into the bank account itself. So think of it that way. These are great ways to go with the value first email strategy and really send 3 to 4 emails per week and build that brand trust with your list before you ask them to buy your next promo. And the cool thing here is that I built this for you guys that will help you out. It's a free download with a video guide as well. So if you click this link, and I'll drop this in the description below, but it's 15 non-promo golf email templates. So basically I'm showing you how you can look at e-commerce emails on a website like Mild.com or others that are similar to that. Pull those templates for inspiration and turn them into golf emails. I think this is where a lot of brands get hung up, and they don't know how to send any kind of emails other than promotions. If you can templatize it in this way and just keep this stock of frameworks and templates to work from, it's a lot more helpful because you don't start from scratch. So these are completely free for you. You can download that here. Again, I'll link you to that. Problem number 3 is the ecom email agency template trap. So this is what I see whenever I take over for lists. They are basically, they were working with ecom email agencies that don't know golf. You start out as the agency, you start out as the golf brand on your own. You're writing your own emails. You've got your brand voice from the founder or CEO who they actually wrote the emails. And like I said, these are some great emails. They are the behind the scenes. They're your true brand voice and people relate to them. Then you outsource it. You hire a standard generic ecom email agency and they start professionalizing everything. They strip out every bit of personality because it's not best practices. They're putting you in these templated emails because that's what everybody else is doing. And they think they're doing what's best for your brand. But really, you look and sound like Callaway, TaylorMade, all the big boys now. And it's all the polish. It looks good, but it lost all of its soul. And then the other thing I see with the agency, the ecom email agency trap is like, they don't know golf. They have zero idea how to speak to golfers. Like I always call it like the sniff test. I can look at an email, I can talk to a person, and I know immediately if they're a golfer. Just within seconds, And if you're a golfer yourself, you understand this. And I see a ton of that with these ecom email agencies. They think it's the same as just taking over a health brand or a skincare brand or a jewelry brand or an apparel brand. And it's not. It is completely different. And the closest they've come to golf is, 1 or 2 trips to Topgolf. So they think that they can pull this off, and they don't. It never works from what I've seen. And oftentimes I'm getting account managers from these agencies or copywriters asking me like, hey, what's the best way that I can learn this? Because I just got thrown this account and I have no idea how to speak to golfers. And it just never works out. So this is always something I try to steer clear of for most golf brands. And the solution here is, read your emails and does it pass the 19th hole test? This is basically asking, is this the way that you would speak to your foursome over some beers after the 18th? You go to the clubhouse and, is this how you would speak to your buddy? That's the main thing is, does it sound super corporate? Does it sound like a template? And if it's not even, if the email doesn't even have enough words in it to apply this test at all, then there's definitely no way that you're going to pass this test. So again, that goes back to what I said in the beginning. If all you're sending is a hero image with product grid, this test is completely pointless because you're not even at step 1 yet. You're back at step 0. So think of it in that way. It's as simple as pulling out your voice app on your phone and just speaking directly about something you did, and then passing that off to the email marketing team and letting them pull those things out. If you're the CEO, the founder, you can record voice notes like this. You can do talk to text, and that really shows your brain voice in general. And that can come across honestly much, much better than these standard generic email formats. So think of brain voice in that way. How would you speak to your buddies over a couple of beers after a good round? Now, implementing all of this, I know it's a lot. So this is the simplest way to do this, and you can sit down and do this in an hour. But the first thing you need to do is audit your emails. Go back, look at the last 10 emails, read them out loud. Again, if there's not even anything to read in the emails, then that's a major red flag at first. So start with that. Start working on some copy. You can add things like body copy in the bridge area. So you've got your hero image, some bridge copy, add a little bit more there, and then just make it readable, scannable. And then from there, move on to, asking yourself, now that you do have some copy in there, does it sound like the way you would talk to your buddies, your golf friends? Would they read this? Would they relate to these emails? The next one is defining your voice. So now that you know that you need more voice in your emails because you identified that in your audit, pick your line in the sand. I always go back to Cut Golf, for instance. They have a great line in the sand. They are DTC golf ball brand, and basically they say our golf balls are better than the big boys and cost less. They talk about their testing against Pro V1, which they beat in 5 out of 6 categories. And the funny thing is, this line always gets me. they say basically you're paying a 3 to 5x markup for Titleist to go out and pay players to play their ball. It's a tongue twister. And then the kicker is they come back to our golf balls are made in the exact same building, which is crazy. So that's a real line in the sand and a good way to define your voice. So find your line in the sand. What do you believe in? What are you against? Those kinds of things are what really can help you define your brand, and think of it as like this us versus them mentality. When you're speaking to your audience, pull the core audience in closer and push everybody else away. That's kind of how you find your 1,000 true fans. And then rewrite it authentically. That's the last step. Start rewriting your emails like you're texting a friend and not presenting to a boardroom. You can inject your genuine personality into every message you send. Like, sure, a lot of these emails are designed. You don't have, 300 words of copy. And I get that. We're in the same boat, but occasionally there's only a couple sentences. Rewrite that sentence, read it out loud to yourself, and then rewrite it yourself from the founder or the CEO's perspective. That's the easiest way to start with this, is to just put it in your own brand voice and start injecting that brand personality into it. And as far as results can go, you're going to look at a little bit of unsubscribes potentially as you start to ramp up and send more emails. As you get into this, you're going to be able to send 3 or 4 emails a week, and that's natural, but that's just going to be the whole us versus them thing again. You're going to filter out the unengaged subscribers and then focus your efforts on those genuinely interested in your brand and drawing them closer. I think engagement goes up significantly whenever you do this. You're going to get replies to your emails, which is awesome. You're going to get better open rates, click-through rates, because your core audience is becoming more engaged now that you're engaging with them. And then also, that typically leads to more revenue in my experience. And then customer advocacy is kind of the unmeasurable thing, the intangible, that your customers are going to start responding, sharing your emails with friends, and then becoming true advocates. They're going to tell people about your brand. Like, I love talking about Bogey Bros and Cut Golf. Like, as I said, I pulled them for this. They were my first immediate light bulb. Like, oh, I got to talk about them in this video today. And I'm an advocate for those brands, and they're not even my clients. But those are basically the things that are going to happen so that you can expect and find them. So I love to hear back from you on this. Let me know what you think. This is my email address here if you have any questions or anything like that. And then also you can follow me here on the socials for more. And then if you need help with your email list, let me know. This is a quick phone call. This is my Calendly links. You can scroll down in this and find a spot that works for you, and we can have a quick chat. So let me know. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.